Testing 1 2. Yeah. Hey, what up, world? It's your boy Bushan Glover. Welcome to the BL Glover Show. Today is Friday night. Happy Friday to you, October 9th. So basically, the BL Glover Show, we stream it live on YouTube as well. A Better Black America TV. And what a week we had this week. Now I know the Lakers is playing right now, so if my engineer Rashid could pull a Laker game up, see what the Lake Show is doing. So man, there's a whole lot going on in the world today. So A Better Black America TV, we're streaming live. AcceleratedRadio.net. You could actually download the Accelerated Radio app as well. Entertainment, sports, politics, and money. ESPM is our thing. ESPM, and we're going to just stick to the format in terms of start to show off with the entertainment aspect. Now, last week I gave a little talking point about the entertainment, the Power Book 2, and episode number 4, which I actually paused because of the gay sex scene. Now I know we're living in 2020. We're living in different times, and we got to figure this thing out. But I did go back and watch it. I had the opportunity to skip past the gay sex scene and went on to continue to watch the show because actually I'm a fan of not only 50 Cent but the Power. I watched all the seasons, and I'm sad that Ghost is not there. But when I fast forward those sex scenes with the gay guys, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to go back to the last week's episode, the promo show. And I skipped and I fast forwarded. So in the movie, well, not in the movie, but on the show, Power Book 2, there was additional sex scenes that I did not know was about to happen. Now, obviously I had an issue with the gay sex scene, but this time it's sad how we're forced to deal with certain things and that we can't control in terms of, entertainment and media, music, things of that nature. So we're going to have to figure out a way to actually change the culture, because one of the main characters, whose name is Tariq, he just turned 18 on episode number 5. But on episode number 4, he was still 17. And Tariq had a sex scene in episode number 4. So not only was I forced to watch and fast forward kiddie porn, I mean not kiddie porn but gay porn, I ended up watching kiddie porn, watching some teenagers have a sex scene, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're killing me with the sex scenes. And I go back to saying, we can actually do away with sex scenes in movies, so we're gonna figure this thing out. But after getting through the kiddie porn with the teenagers, then another sex scene with Method Man. I'm like, wait a minute. It reminds me of what was that show? Zane Chronicles. So it was sad that we got to sit back and watch these things. But, as adults, we're going to have to understand that we want to intellectually be stimulated. Sex doesn't always sell. And to be honest with you, sex actually complicates a lot of things. But in the entertainment block, musically, the music that I'm rocking to right now is a breath of fresh air. When I talk about a breath of fresh air, I'm talking about Nas, Until the Wars Won. Until the Wars Won. Now, Rashid, my engineer, is here. Have you listened to Nas' new album produced by one of those youngsters, Hit Boy?
The last album of Nas that I had actually listened to was the album in which he had the single "The Cop Shot the Kid."
Nah, right now Nas dropped some new stuff.
Okay.
And what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, he took it back to a whole nother level. Like Nas is an MC,
of course,
and he connected with Hit Boy. Hit Boy, Racks in the Middle, Nipsey Hussle. So you got this.
I know Hit Boy.
So you got this legendary MC.
Right, back in my Nas, always legendary for, I believe, Ether in which he went hard at Jay-Z.
Now that was a instant classic. That's one of the most classic albums ever by any rapper. And Nas as an MC in my top 5, but in terms of artists, you know, he might not be in my top 5, but as an MC with his style, you know, he pulling it off. So I want to encourage you, especially like, you know, I'm one of the people that say we're greater than our limitations, meaning we could do anything.
Right.
So if you're a rapper, you know, a little upper in age and all that, man, listen, go and listen to Nas's Until the War's Won. I mean, you will be pleased, and it will motivate you and inspire you to not use age or anything as an excuse. Because if you're an artist and you got talent, you know, the Beatles and all the rock and roll artists, they go on tour until they die. Mick Jagger, you know, had to end his tour. He was 74 years old. So why, as a rapper, you're going to make 2 or 3 albums, the next thing you know, you got to switch up and do something different.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to listen to that
Man,
album.
hey, listen.
See if it's on Spotify.
You know, it's on Spotify.
All right, cool.
But even on YouTube, you know, they got the his whole album.
Okay.
So it's kind of, you know, you don't have to buy albums anymore. It's kind of crazy because I guess they get the money off the streaming because this whole album is there.
Right.
So just to go ahead and entertainment, sports, politics, and money, the entertainment block. I want to keep it short because right now the Lakers is down by what, 2?
7.
Down by 7 in the second quarter going into halftime. So long as they could keep it under double digits going into halftime, I think they're going to be all right. Look like LeBron James has did some things. So and one, and they got the Kobe black on. So it look like we're going to get another ship. You know, it look like we're going to get another ship. And I remember when LeBron did what he did with the Miami Heat, and he was like, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. But after this one, the Lakers are going to go back to back. They're going to go back to back, whether they're in a bubble or not. They're going to go back to back because I guarantee you, without a shadow of a doubt, Lakers going to get another superstar, not no star, another superstar. Because, like I said, those legendary programs or those legendary franchises like the Lakers, Boston.
Man, superstar can't be missing free throws though.
Hey, you right about that. You know, but when you're so talented in certain areas, you know, you got to have a weakness somewhere. But, you know, my daughter shouldn't miss a free throw. You know, even, you know, youth shouldn't miss a free throw. It's called a free throw for a reason. And, you know, I can understand if you like Shaq or Dwight Howard, kind of awkward, you know, with big hands and things of that nature. But for the most part, you know, as a professional player, you should be able to shoot some free throws. And what it's looking like,
Down by 3.
they down by 3. So going in halftime, they might be up. So play that track in the background music because this elevator music is not. I'm not feeling that right now. And that song that I gave you, it's actually clear. It's cleared music, and we're going to be working on a project, and I'm going to have something special for y'all next week. So this is the BL Glover Show, entertainment, sports, politics, and money. Now, like I said, the world, like if you guys are not watching this Laker game, you know, we West Coast, we LA. I know the ratings are low because of the bubble, but look like we're gonna get another one. But if LeBron win this championship, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm gonna go ahead and change my my best basketball player ever roster. Because right now, obviously Jordan and Kobe. I'm gonna give Jordan and Kobe the best individual ice water veins, you know, ever. They cold-blooded. Give me the ball, the whole 9. LeBron James don't have that same gene, but statistically, he's clearly the best overall basketball player in American history. And I'll be willing to debate that with anybody, because when you're talking about number 2 statistically in pretty much every statistical block or statistical box that you can mark off, that has to say something. And this is Lakers going to continue on. They're not just going to win one. Lakers typically go back to back. I haven't seen the Lakers win just one and done in a while. You know, Kobe and Shaq went three-peated. Kobe went back to back. Lakers about to get that chip today. They're going to go back to back. You go back to the Lakers, they did a three-peat.
I mean, the way that the West is right now, just loaded with talent, it's definitely going to be a challenge for them to actually go back to back.
I agree, but when you have the number 1 and number 2 player on, it's going to be, it's not, like I said, I take these two over the Klay Thompsons and Steph Currys and all of that, because you're going to have to go through LA.
Right,
And I agree the West is heavy, but
right, and Golden State gonna be coming back next year at full strength.
they could come back at full strength, but they're gonna be a little weak in the inside because if Draymond Green, at 6'7", 6'8", playing the 5, it's gonna be he's gonna have problems with Anthony Davis.
Oh wait, hold on. I think they do have a big man. I forgot his name.
Exactly.
I forgot. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It just is. I mean, you're going to need a superstar. Now, we don't forget superstar names.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even call them their whole name. This dude's name is AD. Like Anthony Davis, but we call him AD. LeBron James, Bron. Kobe the Mamba. But Steph Curry and all them. We gonna see what's going on.
Just call him Chef Curry.
No, Curry the man, but like I said, the injuries, and like I said, this was a weird basketball season, so I don't think they should be an asterisk by the championship because, like I said, winning a game or winning any game on a professional level should be, some type of, accolade or some type of commemoration because, this is the NBA. But for the Lakers to actually go into that bubble, clearly, they had an edge because they got some focused players. And I look at LeBron. I've never heard him, scandal. He never been at a strip club, getting chicken wings and all of that. He's a family man. So I truly believe that man's, his life, his legacy, and how he lives, he's being blessed. He's truly blessed. Like I said, he might not be, play the way that we want him to play, but he plays the game of basketball the way they intended it to play. Because what I'm saying is we watching history right here. We watching history. And as we speak on a Friday, streaming live, we are actually, this is going down in history. Because like I said, when I think back 10 years, I'm going to know exactly what I was doing on Friday when the Lakers won a championship. I was streaming live on acceleratedradio.net, A Better Black America TV on YouTube as well. So entertainment, sports, politics is our thing. Got the Lakers down by 2. Rondo on the line, about to shoot some free throws. But we're going to go ahead and switch up and move on to the politics. I mean, this is a topic where I'm going to have to just do a political show because the politics kind of, changes people's moods. So I'm not going to talk about Trump and all that's what's going on, but we got to talk about some politics because Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, she presented a 25th Amendment bill today. And I call it the Joe Biden bill, but the media, they don't really understand what's going on. It's a bill, or the 25th Amendment, that actually will put congressional and Congress people together to vote and make a decision if the President of the United States is in his right state of mind. Now, a lot of people go out and say that, maybe he just wanted to, they want to remove Trump, but I really believe if it's a long shot, but if the Democrats win and Joe Biden becomes president of the United States of America, without shadow of a doubt, I guarantee you that 25th Amendment is there for Kamala Harris to be president of the United States. To be president of the United States. And to sit back and to even think that, just imagine Kamala Harris, the president of the United States. I can't fathom that. So we got to vote. Like I said, as blacks, we're free agents. We're not baked into any political party, especially in California. Y'all don't know what went on, through the 90s with those crime bills and all of that. Y'all don't know, but I was fortunate to talk to a brother, and I wanted him to, I want to share his story. And I'm gonna get him to come in, but I told him I was going to talk about him just a little bit. He didn't want me to share his name, but when the Trump administration signed the prison reforms, the first phase, and a part of that was to decriminalize the crack cocaine to be equal to powder, and instantly 3,100 prisoners was able to get released from prison based on that bill. And this brother has a job already. He's working at a construction site downtown, and we was talking about the presidency, and he was when I say going in with Donald Trump, talking about how he supports Donald Trump. And I'm sitting back like, man, the world needs to see your story. And it motivated him. And he did a video. And he told me to hold on, don't share it, because it's actually going viral. But he's getting too much attention for it. But for black men to be released from prison, for black men to get a second chance, more importantly, for black men to survive Los Angeles, and I'm one of those, because what I'm doing today, this wasn't what I was supposed to do, because I guarantee without a shadow of a doubt, whoever was really called to do what I do is either dead or in jail. And growing up in the 90s, we had to survive because, we lived in a world of being caught up, because it was just so many traps and so many situations to catch us up. Stop and frisk. They didn't need a reason. They'll give you a jaywalking ticket. You 12 years old and you got to go to court, and if you don't go to court, then now you got a warrant. I mean, come on, it was basically just setting us up. But the climate, things are changing, and I'm seeing a lot of people who should be sad because the Democratic Party is selling us doom and gloom, but there's a silent majority out there that's looking to come out of this on their feet, because if you look at corporations, if you look at DBAs, if you look at business tax IDs and things of that nature, the county recorder's office is overwhelmed, just as much as EDD is, because you have people taking a chance and saying, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to get off that 9 to 5 and become a entrepreneur. And when you become an entrepreneur, then you are a capitalist, by definition, even if you have liberal views, but you want the tax breaks. You don't mind if the president pays $700 on his taxes. You want his tax man, because when you're an employer and you're employing people, you should get those tax breaks. So the Trump tax breaks that's on the table, when they had that the debate this week with the vice president, Kamala Harris refused to address the situation and refused to defend Biden, because Biden pretty much said he's going to take away the tax that Trump implemented. And for a regular family, either $2,500 to $4,000 added to their annual income. And that's a good thing. And a lot of times they talk about, the rich and the wealthy, and I hate when Bernie Sanders say that. The rich and wealthy top own 1% of all the wealth. Okay, so why not, as the formerly oppressed people, the survivors, the black folk, why don't we, within the next 5 to 10 years, try to get that 1% to 10%? Why aren't we motivated and encouraged to get to that next level in life? Because like I said, I mean, a 9 to 5 is fine. You got your career, but I don't care how much you like your 9 to 5, how much you like your career. It's going to be a day when you wake up and say, you know what? I do not want to go to work. You have to call off, and, hopefully you don't have a job where, you're relieving, someone. So, because you're going to have to find someone to actually take your place. But moving forward, it's time for us to get to that next level and try to understand exactly, what's going on. So you listen to the BL Glover Show, entertainment, sports, politics, and money. And, we on the politic block right now, because an interesting story. The story today was the mayor of Michigan. Did you see that today? The mayor of Michigan, there was a militia group.
Yes, I'm trying to remember the name of the militia group, but they were arrested because a cop went undercover and saw that they were plotting to actually kidnap him.
Her, Gretchen Whitmer.
Sorry, to kidnap her in order to start another
civil war. That's crazy. And when I first saw the story, I saw it on Good Morning America, and she was well within her right to talk and say that the president's rhetoric, has to be, I would say fair and balanced, so people won't feel like they need to do extra things. But it was actually his administration that actually infiltrated the militia and arrested all 12. And then another story broke because John Charles Carney, Carney, the governor of Delaware, actually pardoned the head cracker in charge, Barry Croft, last year. Democrat. So how do we explain that? So you got the governor of Delaware, and Joe Biden was a senator from Delaware, pardon a white supremacist, someone that's actually anti-American, pardoned him last year. And he is the main cracker in charge of this plot. Is that connection to the Democratic Party? We don't know, but we do know that the current president, he condemns, anything that's anti-American. Now, what's the Antifa? You got Antifa out there, but this is the same type of situation scenario. So if you got a group that's anti-American, which party do they align themselves with?
But wait, does Antifa really exist?
Well, yes, and that's what the Democrats say, because they say, well, Antifa is an illusion, and yes, it exists, and it's anti-American, and it's in bed with the Black Lives Matter movement, the whole nine. And this is why when they asked President Trump to address or to condemn white supremacy, and he told the Proud Boys stand down and stand back. In his mind, he was like, tell Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to condemn Antifa. And he said the same thing to Joe Biden. What did Joe Biden say? The same thing you said. Look here, Antifa is an illusion. No, Antifa is the left-wing operation. That's when you see all these Black Lives Matter movements, and you see the white boys with the cameras and the headsets, and it looks like it's a operation that's actually organized. I got videos where they just bashing windows and doing all kind of crazy stuff, and it looks like it's organized. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was up at my homeboy's house on 110th Street, and they were trying to get to the sheriff's station on Imperial and Normandy. The 3 people that I talked to, they wasn't Antifa, but I think they was running the show, because they was actually, the persons that you talk to when it comes to getting your check and all that good stuff. But we're going to figure it out. So just imagine if white America said that the KKK wasn't real. Because when I look at the Black Lives Matters things, I don't see black people out there protesting. I see whites. And a lot of those situations, Black Lives Matters, they pretty much got Trojan horsed and pretty much don't have too much to say about what goes on out there. And that's a sad thing. So I guess the Laker game is halftime right now. What's the score?
60-56.
Okay, so I guess I'm going to be able to watch the fourth quarter, because this is our show. And the hour goes so fast, so I'm sitting here like, man, I'm going to have to figure out a way where we could get 2 hours in. But with the politics, it's getting thick. But with the debates, I don't want to see another debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Did you see the debates this week between those guys? You saw the last debate?
You mean the debate where Joe Biden had a fly on his head?
Well, no, Mike. Well, yeah, that one. It was Mike Pence, the vice president, had a fly on his head.
Right, but then you're talking about the debate that just happened between the vice president.
I'm talking about that one. I'm moving because we talked about that one last Friday. Kamala Harris and Mike Pence.
Right. I think this debate was definitely better and more. It sounded a lot more professional.
Right.
Than the other two.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to the point where it seemed like Kamala Harris was more pressing on the pandemic,
mm-hmm.
while Biden was basically, Pence was trying to quote unquote clean up some of Donald Trump's rhetoric and mess.
Right, but to me it looked like 2 kids because neither one of them answered a question. It was kind of like, I know you are, but what am I? I know you are, but what? Answer the question. Or are you going to pack the court? You know what I'm saying? That question wasn't answered. And when he challenged her on a record, she didn't answer that either. But to be realistic, and I'm going to be fair, I don't want to pick a side or anything like that. I'm a nonpartisan, black, independent conservative. So I don't pick a side, but I am going to pick, when I vote, what side I'm going to pick, because I have no choice. My hand was forced. But it's what confuses me the most is because when you look at it live time, when you have professional prosecutors, like Kamala Harris is a professional prosecutor. She's like the top lawyer of the world. She's at the top notch, so she know how to prosecute, but she's not a good defendant. Because when Black America tried to get her to answer questions, or we're wanting her to defend her record, she refuses to. But what scared me the most is when Mike Pence challenged her on her criminal record and talked about the people that was released and on the with those reductions of the crime bills that Joe Biden wrote. She looked at that camera and said, and I quote, I don't have to defend my record. And if elected, the Biden-Harris ticket will implement those policies across America. So that's a double down. So now I'm like, okay, now I see why they're trying to just allow their cities to just crumble, because they got a plan to come back and get you. So we got to be careful on that one. We got to be real careful. But like I said, I don't trust them. And as blacks, it's a mass exodus. And like I said, I can't promote either party, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, we need to be independent and we need to be sovereign. And every 4 years, we need to have an agenda and a seat at the table. So who's ever in office, they're going to have to address us, because we cannot, continue to just take this hands down and just be in the bed with them like that. But when you look at the political stuff, at this point for me, it's party. It's not even the person anymore. So I'm wondering, what's the difference between a Democratic Party? So something hit me. Something said, you know what? The president talks about these rat-infested, dirty, bad Democratic cities. So I said, let me just go ahead and just let me Google and see the most dangerous cities in America. And I was shocked. I went the top 20. And out of the top 20 states, or the top 10 out of the top 20 cities, the worst, all 20 is Democratic. All 20 is Democratic. And I got the list right here. I'm going to go down the line. I'm going to go down the line for you, because a lot of these cities you wouldn't even think was in this. Number 20, Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee. With its unbeatable live music scene and an amazing selection of bars and restaurants, it's no surprise Nashville is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the U.S. But you won't find your typical list on the best things in Nashville, because the crime statistics are alarming. Number 19, New Orleans, Louisiana. And I remember, before Ray Nagin got locked up, he was the mayor, got locked up, mismanaging funds. And when he said that when they was trying to get the resources after Katrina, he called it Chocolate City. But what it looks like that the Democratic electives are just city managers, because why won't a mayor go in and say, I'm going to stop crime? Because I remember as a kid living in L.A. with all the crime and what was going on, and we had Mayor Tom Bradley and all that, and things would happen and he wouldn't say anything. So it makes you think, who's calling the shots on the level of being a mayor. Because I look at Compton, I look at the streets in Compton. You got the female, Asia Brown. Who's really calling the shots? Who's making the decisions? Well, let me get back to the list. Number 17, Indianapolis, Indiana. Number 16, Oakland, California. Number 15, and this is crazy. I know nobody's going to know what number 15 is. Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska. Now, home to more than 41% of the Alaska's entire population is in Anchorage, and is an important northern economic center that boasts spectacular views, mountain ranges, the whole nine. But sadly, along with being the most northern capital U.S. City, Anchorage holds the unfortunate distinction of being the country's sexual assault capital. Now, if you think of Alaska, it's cold. So, at wintertime, you booed up. But apparently, women are getting from every 1,000 people, over 1,300 women are assaulted sexually in Alaska. And it's considered, Alaska as a whole is considered the most dangerous state for women, with 59% of the women who live there have experienced violence. And that's 59%, so go ahead and say 60. So wow, that's crazy. Number 14, Springfield, Missouri. Number 13, and I think I misspoke. I said that all 20 was Democratic. I made a mistake. Number 13 is a Republican city. But this is going to shock you though. San Bernardino, California has a Republican Latino mayor. So clearly they want to change, their crime. So putting in a Republican, supposedly, law and order, right? So if you got a Republican as the mayor, then it looks like crime ceases. So we're going to really have to figure out what's going on in these Democratic cities, because only things that I hear from Democratic cities is crime. And then when you look back at cities like Detroit and things like that, you look at they arrest the mayors, because clearly they figure they do things that they shouldn't do, but they're not in with the good old boys. Because usually, the white mayor could get away with a whole lot, but then soon as the brother come in there, now they basically making sure he doing everything right and correct. And if he does anything wrong, they don't use no discretion. They just go ahead and get him up out of there. Because it takes me back to the University of Connecticut when Kevin Ollie became the head coach. The coach prior been there for almost 20, 30 years. Kevin Ollie gets there and does the same camps, the same recruiting regimen and all of that. But for some reason, he's commingling with players and recruiting violations and things like that. So clearly, it's pick and choose. All right, we get back to the top 20 worst cities in America, or most dangerous cities in America. 19 are Democratic, 1 is Republican, and that's San Bernardino. So number 12, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Number 11, Rockford, Illinois. Number 10, Stockton, California. Number 9, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Democrat. Number 8, Little Rock, Arkansas, Democrat. Number 7, Cleveland, Ohio, Democrat. Number 6, Kansas City, Missouri, Democrat. Number 5, St. Louis, Missouri, Democrat. Number 4, Baltimore, Maryland, Democrat. Number 3, and this shocked me, Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, but we don't get the news from Birmingham, Alabama. But you wouldn't think that you would have crime like that. And it was once known as the Magic City. Now today, Birmingham is the most populous city in Alabama and one of the largest banking centers in the U.S. Now I didn't know that. But this is why when you look up the black banks, you have a large volume of black banks in the state of Alabama. Now, yet with all the economic success, Birmingham has an alarming crime rate that sits at 112% higher than the national average. Aggravated assaults are primarily the concern, as well as accounted for 70% of the nonviolent crimes in 2019.
Right, but correct my history if I'm wrong, but wasn't Birmingham, Alabama, in fact, one of the main sites of the civil rights movement?
Yes. I'm glad you went absolute. Dr. King, Birmingham, Alabama. Yes, that was the mecca of the civil rights movement.
Right, and forgive me if I'm wrong. And it's like Birmingham, Alabama is part of the South, and the South hasn't exactly been the most kind.
Right. I mean, like I said, we don't know nothing about Mississippi, none of those. You know what I'm saying? But you got a great point there, because we don't hear or see too much about it. But let me go ahead and throw this curveball.
Go for it.
But since it was the mecca of the civil rights movement, it's the largest economic banking system in the South. That's crazy. And they have the largest volume of black banks. So we're going to have to figure some things out. So I know we live in California, but Alabama, that we might have to look south if we want to get that good economic. But check out number 2. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis, Tennessee. And then number 1, drum roll. You know what number 1 is. You know what number 1 is, because I didn't mention it. And the number 1 most dangerous city in the United States of America is D-Town, Detroit, Michigan.
Of course.
Yeah. And I remember Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown's still locked up taking money. But the reason that Detroit is going through its things, like I said, it's I'm not throwing the Democrats under the bus. I'm really not. But
I mean, Detroit has always been known as crime capital, because even comedians make jokes about not wanting to move to Detroit.
Right.
There was a movie, I believe it was like Scary Movie 3 or Scary Movie 4, where they made a joke about an alien invasion and nothing changed except for the fact that you saw UFOs. Nothing changed.
What's the name of that movie, man?
I think it was Scary Movie 3.
Scary Movie 3?
Yeah.
So they came in there, so the ghosts didn't do nothing because they got guns.
Nah, because it was a news report about an alien invasion.
Okay.
And then they said that before, you hear ambulance and gunshots and the city on fire. After the alien invasion, it's still a city on fire
with gunshots.
Gunshots and ambulance, but just with
aliens.
But just with UFOs, just over top. So nothing really changed.
Nothing really changed. And that's sad, though, because it was one time with the Motor City, that was the Motor City.
Right.
You had the car industry.
The actual automobiles started, right?
But see, and what I'm saying is, as a black man, we got to start looking for opportunities, because the Motor City, you can't seem to catch a break. But while most major U.S. cities continue to grow, Detroit has seen one of the steepest population declines over the last century. Now, at its peak, the city was home to 1.8 million people in the 50s, but the decline in the manufacturing jobs has driven the population down less than 700,000 today. The city's massive unemployment and poverty rates, 37% poverty? Poverty is the motivation for crime.
Yeah.
So if you hungry,
talks about it.
Man, and since you brought that up, I remember watching 8 Mile with the empty houses and all of that. And when I was in college at Central State, my roommate was from Detroit, and I went home with this brother on Halloween, like a turnaround trip, and they call it Devil's Night. They literally was burning the city down. Just that's what they do, and I'm sitting back like, man, this is crazy, But as blacks, as a culture, we're gonna have to look at Detroit. We might have to bring that back, because if the city's in a cognitive decline, that's a little shade right there. But if the city is declining, we're gonna have to see some opportunities and get these cities back, because clearly the population is a large black population, and a lot of the victims are people of the community. And we're gonna really have to pull our heads together and figure some things out, and we can't just be sitting back on the sidelines just expecting things to change. We just can't do that.
With our heads in the sand.
Yeah, we can't do that. So we're gonna have to figure it out. But and that's getting into the money block of the show, because entertainment, sports, politics, and money. We need to start looking at investing and building and locating cities and communities that we can actually own and operate. Because clearly, I just read off 20 of the worst or the most dangerous cities in the United States. All of them were Democratic except one, and that was the city of San Bernardino, which has a new Republican, because clearly they're trying to change what's going on. But when it comes to money, we gotta look at the other cultures and see what they're doing, and we have to build. Like I said, I'm born and raised in LA, but I'm not. There's no anchor. You know, if there's opportunity somewhere where we can actually, you know, get a slice of the pie, because I like to tell this joke all the time. They remember when they before we were human, we were 3/5, right?
Right.
So I'm saying let's go ahead and take back 3/5 of this nation, so we can, you know, own 60% of this nation. Because clearly, you know, from a population perspective, if you go outside of white, you know, we are, in terms of melanated people, a global dominance. You know, this is why they try to, you know, keep us disenfranchised and keep us separated. But we're going to really have to start talking about our money, you know, because like I would recommend Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson to really understand the importance of building, because we could march, we could rally, we could do all of that. But what happens? Nothing. Things are on pause, and things are, you know, just on chill until another situation happen, and that's not good. So we're gonna have to start having these conversations, because no one is stopping us, and we have no excuses. So, you know, we getting up in age, and, you know, a good man leaves his children and an inheritance. So we're gonna have to do something. But in terms of the money aspect, you know, we got a lot of things out there. We got the black contract that Ice Cube is actually sponsoring. And if you get a chance, watch the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett, and it was phenomenal. And I'm actually proud. So you got the black contract sponsored by Ice Cube. You got the platinum plan. Have you heard about the platinum plan?
The platinum plan.
The platinum plan is Trump's platinum plan. $500 billion. Go ahead and look it up if you want to, but $500 billion into the investments into the community. And in this Trump platinum plan, he's declaring to target domestic terrorism. When I say domestic terrorism, he's talking about the KKK and Antifa as domestic terrorist groups, and making the federal lynching law a national law, meaning in all 50 states you can't do any lynching. But it's weird how in 2020 we do not have an anti-lynching law on the books. And when when Jussie Smollett had this little situation, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, the Congressional Black Caucus came up with a anti-lynching bill. Was already written, but it turned out to be a hoax. But go ahead, brother.
Okay, so let's see.
Speak clear too, man. Don't mess up the Trump platinum plan.
The Trump platinum plan.
Yeah.
Proposal includes prosecuting the Ku Klux Klan and Antifa as terrorist organizations, making Juneteenth a federal holiday.
Hold on. Listen, if he is racist, that's a great gesture. Juneteenth as a federal holiday?
Yes.
I mean, we're gonna be out of school. It's gonna be recognized like 4th of July, Christmas, New Year, and all of that. But go ahead.
And efforts to bolster black economic prosperity, because when I look at Antifa, they represent anti-fascists, with anti-fascists, which is opposed to fascism or to extreme right-wing authoritarianism, which if we think of fascists, we think of the neo-Nazi.
Yeah. So, but just think about it. So it's a right. It's a right?
Yes.
Okay. Two lefts make a right.
Right.
Okay. So they're standing on the premise of white supremacy. It was a time where white folk, they was divided just like us. You remember the movie Gangs of New York?
Yes.
The Italians didn't like the Italians. The Germans didn't like the Jews. The Jews did. But they decided, you know what? To stay in power, let's just be white. And then let's make them a minority. So don't say they black, make them African American, because I'm black and I'm proud. We don't want to hear them say that no more. You know, so this is why we have to look past all of the the fog, and really focus on what our goal is. Because regardless of white supremacy, regardless of hatred or what's going on in the world today, nothing is stopping us from living a good holistic life. We could be in this system, but we don't have to be a part of this system. But the only way this can happen is if we can somehow bring law and order, and I'm using their word because we don't want crime, but poverty has to be our number one enemy. Because if we can handle poverty, the crime rate will drop drastically. Because you would be amazed at what people would do on a hungry stomach. I had a little dude try to rob me, before I choked him out. He cried and apologized. I said, man, I'm sorry. He said, man, I'm just hungry, man. I said, so why you running up on me? He said, man, I said in my mind, whoever turned this corner, I was robbing him. And I said, when you saw me, you didn't think twice? He said, no. I said, so if my mama turned that corner, he said, I wish it was your mama. I'd have got her, because I really put hands on him. But that made me think, like, we got to do something about poverty. So this is why, as we as individuals, we got to think like we're free agents. We got to think outside the box and see what we can do collectively to actually get things on a level that's fair and that's balanced. And I know we get to the end, but next week I'm breaking down the Governor Gavin Newsom's reparations, the bill that he signed, AB 2131 or 3121. And it's basically to open up the conversation on how funds could actually be distributed. So, and I can understand if you're not of African descent, you might be mad, but at the end of the day, tune in next week, because I'm gonna have the list of the reparations. I'm working on it already. The Japanese, they got $20,000 in 1990. And if you was already here and was in a concentration camp, you got 40. So you're talking about 40 and 20, $60,000. And at that time, homes were selling in the 50s and 60,000s. So when you look at cities like Gardena, because that's where one of the concentration camps was. That's why, they used to have a large population. They still do, but for some reason, they don't go to Gardena High School. But I remember playing Gardena back in the day, and, the coach was Asian, had a whole bunch of Asian kids going to their proms. The Asian kids would win the prom, but, after the black entrance into the school, somehow they just decided to go somewhere else, because they do not go to Gardena High School. But we're going to have to figure this thing out. So moving forward, we're going to go ahead and be proactive. So next week, man, we're going to really talk about the propositions, because I think right now we're going to have a scorecard, because I've never seen where we understood the propositions. I've never seen that. So, because a lot of times you vote yeah me, no me, yeah, but we're going to have a scorecard, and we're going to go over the propositions, because I've been seeing Prop 23 everywhere, and it's a reduction in the dialysis centers. And on the commercials, it's the doom and gloom, please vote yes on 23. If my dialysis center closed, I'm going to die. I don't know what's going to happen. And in my mind, nah, you're just going to go to the next closest dialysis center. Because with COVID-19, the pre-existing medical conditions, a large volume of our, people that was living in the convalescent homes have perished. And there's not a second generation or third generation of diabetes. Because the baby boomers, there was something in the water. A lot of the baby boomers had kidney issues. And the baby booming generation was pretty much the last generation of faucet drinkers. When the last time you drank out of a water hose, Rashid? When the last time you just got a glass of water, turned the faucet on in the bathroom, turned it on and drunk it? Right. So my parents, that's all the water they had. It wasn't no bottled water and all of that. So it was something in the water. So because my generation, we tend to be a little more healthier, because we see what was going on. So I'm not saying that we don't have our own issues, but the dialysis centers, they pretty much overbuilt with an expectation to have an influx of people with dialysis, and it's not a lot of people. So some of those dialysis centers will not be open. And Prop 23 is trying to keep them open, whether there's people in there or not, just for convenient purposes. But they're going to slash that in half, especially with the deaths due to coronavirus with the pre-existing. But I saw something today where a guy went to the urgent care and he had a simple flu. You know what they said he had? Coronavirus. He had a flu. He had the flu. He went back and got a second opinion, and they basically said he had the flu. But the doctor that he went to initially, told him to quarantine and was basically trying to mark down that this person had coronavirus. And I'm sitting back like, wait a minute. We have a flu season coming up, so how are we going to monitor? And it's on average, 40 to 65,000 people die annually of the flu. So how are we going to calculate who has the flu and who doesn't? But I'm hoping that after this election, all this stuff just go away, and we can get back to normal. But, the game is chess, not checkers. So for the president of the United States to actually, get the coronavirus and now says he's stronger than ever. So he feels better than ever now.
I'm calling BS unless for some God-given reason. The medication that he was on in the Walter Reed's hospital had him high as a kite.
Hey. Well, he said the drugs were good, and he want to make sure that everyone that contracts the coronavirus has availability to have the drugs he had, so they could feel good too. And I think I saw an outlet where someone spun it that way, where Nancy Pelosi was the reason she was trying to put that 25th Amendment in is because of the president. And he always accused Joe Biden of being on something. But I personally do not want to see no more debates. But the Lakers is down 78-82, 2 minutes and 28 seconds in the third quarter. So it's looking like when I get up out of here, Rashid, I'm going to get to go watch the fourth quarters with the homies. And when the Lakers win, we're going to celebrate, because there's a steal right there. So, man, the BL Glover Show. So make sure you subscribe to A Better Black America TV. Hit the notifications, because every Friday at 7 p.m. we're going to be on. Make sure you download the Accelerated Radio Network app that's in your app store. And you can listen live, streaming online at the direct website, and that's acceleratedradio.net. Is that correct, Rashid?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, man, it's your boy BL Glover. Man, we turn it up a little bit, man. Let's go and bump to that. And next week I'm gonna have something special for you to this track right here, man. We working on an intro. We grassroots, but we growing, and you basically, seeing the process. So the name of the game is Fate Not. So a year from now, we should grow, get a little better. But I see some big things coming down the line, and we're going to be all right. So with that being said, man, thank you for tuning in to the BL Glover Show. And I'll see you next week. And subscribe to my Instagram. That's Bushan Glover. And then 1619 Clothing on Instagram. So we working on that website as well. So give me some time. I'm a one-man band, but we about to do this. With that being said, man, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, it's your boy, Bushan Glover, the BL Glover Show.